These are some of the weirdest bootleg Transformers. Us adult collectors like to buy official products a lot of the time, but sometimes purchasing bootlegs is funny. Why is Bumblebee a cop? What even is this? But my favorite is Superman Optimus Prime. This is one of the weirdest and most interesting Transformers knockoffs I've seen, and I kind of like it. It didn't come in any packaging, so there's no box art to look at. The cape right here is detachable. Please, come off. Don't embarrass me on camera. Okay. It's pretty basic looking, honestly, and it feels pretty flimsy. Now this figure is just an oversized knockoff of the core Optimus. And minus the colors, they look mostly similar, except for the head sculpt here where this one has this weird G on it. If you look at the arms, the design is pretty much the same. It's got the same patterns and panel work on there. Same on this side, minus the Autobot logo. I could probably put a sticker on there, but I'm lazy. The chest area also looks similar. They have the same details on the thighs. The rest of the legs look similar as well. Even the back of the figure is a spot-on copy of the core class figure. These figures pretty much have the same joints and they transform the same. Now one major difference in this figure is the head sculpt. It doesn't look right. Here's a closer comparison of the two, and I'm not really a big fan of this head sculpt. If they're gonna copy the rest of the figure, they might as well copy the head sculpt as well. I don't really understand the point of having this over here, when they could have just gone with the original look. Now another thing is that the eyes aren't painted on this, so he looks kind of dead. The figure does have a lot of hollow bits in there, especially in the legs. Having hollow pieces in figures is one of my biggest pet peeves, even though it is like that on the original figure. It's still dumb, I don't like it. Now this figure does have the colors of Superman down pretty decently. Obviously most of it is blue, and instead of having an S on the chest, since there's no room for that, they just made the chest piece red, and maybe these should have been yellow? Personal preference, it probably wouldn't look too good. For the yellow belt, you have gold over here, and for the red crotch piece, man, he's got kind of a bulge. They went with red for the skirt pieces here, and they opted in to go for red for the hands. They did the blue for the thighs, and then for the red boots, they got red here, and then a nice silver over here, and then obviously the red cape. It also comes with a weapon. Now, I don't recall Superman ever using weapons like these before. Oh, wait, okay, never mind. And if you're a Transformers fan, you might notice that this doesn't look like Optimus's weapon. That's because it's Starscream's null rays. Here it is next to what it should be, the Ion Blaster from the Legacy core figure. This one's just a cheap black plastic, while the Ion Blaster is a metallic gray. And for a comparison, here is Starscream's null ray from Coronation Starscream. Yeah, that's a null ray. Now, while the color scheme of the figure makes it look like a really cheap bootleg, it doesn't feel as cheap as I expected. It's not very loose either, it holds together pretty solid. Now, the articulation on this figure is mostly the same as the core figure. You can spin the head around, it's very tight. It can't look up, it can only go down for the transformation. The shoulders have a ball joint. You can bring the arms out. This one is just a tiny bit loose. The arms can spin all the way around. You can move them back and forth as well. The elbows are on a ball joint so they can bend, and you can spin them around, and it is surprisingly kind of tight. These hands right here can move in for the transformation. He doesn't have any waist movement, neither did the core figure. You can bring this up though and give his chest some movement, but that's for the transformation. The legs are also on a ball joint, so you can bring them up, you can also bring them out, and they can go back. Now the knees are also on a ball joint. You get a pretty good bend on them, and you can spin them around. Just like the core figure, there's no movement for the feet. You can untab this and get sort of an ab crunch, but this is supposed to be for the transformation. And the cape here has 3 hinge joints, so you can get some sort of weird dynamic poses with them. The cape can't really hold any of its poses besides this piece right here. You can get some pretty decent poses out of this guy, even with the cape on, which is really hard to put on camera for some reason. There we go. There's a little hole right here for pegging, or for perhaps a stand, but none of the stands I have really fit in there. I was able to kind of get this DC figure stand to at least like hold it in place, sort of, and that kind of works. Now transformation is pretty much the same as core Optimus. You can put his head down there, bring this flap up and over, bring in these hands right here, same here, bring the arms out so you can turn them around. These right here come together like that, and then you can untab this to bring it out and bring this up here. Now we can bring the arms down, bend them right there, and then we can bring them back and bring them in like that, and then make sure these are pegged into place right in the arms. Now here is the vehicle mode on this, and it's okay. Once again, the same vehicle mode as core Optimus, and I wasn't really a big fan of that vehicle mode either. This doesn't roll too well. The wheels are kind of shitty, and there's no storage for the cape. I mean, I don't know where you would put it. This does have weapon storage for the null ray. That's it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about this. The bottom side looks eh.
The side profile looks alright. The front of it looks really long. Let's transform this guy so I can show you that it's pretty much just the same. Bring the head in, this up, bring him around, bring these legs back, these go up here, bend the arms, bring them back in, bring the hands in, and then we can get these in place just like that. Bring those together, and these also peg into place right here. I wasn't a big fan of this vehicle mode either. This one also looks long, and they do look pretty much the same. These right here are two Bootleg Bumblebee figures that I bought off of AliExpress. Here's a closer look at both our wonderful figures.
Now this one kind of has this weird police aesthetic to it.
Well, this one kind of looks like American cheese. And from what I've seen, this is pretty much just a carbon copy of the Dark of the Moon Deluxe Bumblebee.
And since this is a knockoff, it's not going to have any of the Chevy or Autobot logos on there. There were two other color variants of this figure, but they didn't look too different. One was from the last night, and then the other one had more proper yellow colors.
These two look vastly different in color, so that's why I decided to get these. And overall, they are the exact same figure, just different color schemes. From what I've seen online, the color scheme of this one is much different than the original. Now, the head sculpts on these do look like they might be different, but that's just because of the paintwork on it. Now, the head sculpt on this one isn't that bad. It's not my favorite, but it's not the worst either. And now, while this has the same head sculpt, it looks a lot worse. Now, this one has some blue light piping, while the other one does not.
And the light piping on this is really good.
The paintwork on the face is pretty good. It's got some mechanical details all around the figure. Even on the sides of the arms right here, you got some mechanical bits on the inside of the arms. You have this little gold paint right over here. You have some mechanical bits right here as well. Now, the back of the figure is just the top of the car folded in, and it doesn't look very flat. And in my opinion, doesn't look too great.
I guess you could say it's not flattering.
But the rest of the figure really does look like Bumblebee. These top areas, though, do look kind of weird. There's something off about them. I think they look a little too big and there's too much there. And this paintwork on here isn't yellow. It's very orangey yellow. And I don't like the color of the gray over here. On here, it's more of a silver, and that looks much better in my opinion. Now, this one here has more of a white color scheme with some blue on it. I'm not the biggest fan of the paint on the head. The little red accents here are really nice, I think. It's got some shiny blues here. You have some police symbolism, whatever here. Now, both the figures come with weapons. And for a figure like this is a really big weapon. It has the same action as the original figure. Would be nice if this could lock it into place, though. You can put the weapons in each of their hands, but it doesn't really hold in place very well.
And the back on both of these is super loose, so it kind of comes down pretty often on both of them. You might see that throughout the rest of the review.
Here's a figure that's much more comparable to it. This is the Revenge of the Fallen Human Alliance Bumblebee. Here they are standing next to each other, and obviously the Human Alliance figure looks much better. The Human Alliance figure is also much bigger, and has better paintwork on it as well, and a much better head sculpt in my opinion. Now once again, this is from Revenge of the Fallen, while this is a knockoff from Dark of the Moon. This one right here has gray as well as some silver paint in some areas and a license plate, and the back on this one is much cleaner. This also has a seat for Sam, which I don't have. Closer look at the head sculpt. Obviously this one's missing the Autobot logo, and this one's got the mask on it that you can... This one's got a mask on it that you can... This one has a mask on it that you can... Okay. Now, a comparison with the Studio Series figure. The back on this one, obviously much flatter. This one has these extra pieces for the door. Head sculpt, very different on both of them. The chest area even looks very different. These side pieces are much smaller here, and they have a more exposed area right here. The abdomen and crotch look similar. Once again here, these are on the front, while here they're on the side. And the molding of the legs is also different. Now, these figures, obviously, they're not perfect.
And when you buy bootlegs, your expectations are usually pretty low.
These are honestly pretty decent figures. Now, let's move on to the articulation of the figure. It can move up and down, and its head can spin all the way around. These arms here are on a ball joint, so you can spin them around, and oh, okay.
Is there a particular reason this happens every video?
You can bring the arms up out like that. You got some elbow joints. These hands can move in and out. The doors can move. The arms can spin around right there. You got ball joints on the legs, allowing you to bring them out and then out to the side, and you can bring the legs back.
There is rotation at the waist.
There's no ab crunch.
There's some knee bending right there.
The feet can move right here and right here, but you can't pivot them side to side or anything. The articulation on these figures is a bit limited.
The right leg on this figure is a bit loose on mine, but the rest of the joints for both the figures stay in place pretty well.
Now for the transformation, it's fairly simple. Bring these up right here and fold them in, and we can unfold its back right here.
Now bring these pieces out into the side, right over the wheel, and then again the same on the other side. Now you want to bring both of these hands in.
Rotate these over, bring those together. Now we can straighten this out right here. Bring that down, bring this out into the back.
Bring these in inside, bring the front pieces in,
bring in the wheels, close the door.
Okay, we're gonna go back a bit.
Make sure this is flat before you bring it in, and then you can bring it in. And then this is supposed to go in down there like that, and then,
You gotta adjust everything to make sure it snaps into place properly. Okay, there we go.
I apologize, things are much harder to do on camera for some reason.
Now for the other one, it's exactly the same, and I'm gonna speed up the video.
And there is the vehicle mode on that. Now the transformation on these guys kind of felt like a jumbled mess. We'll take a look at this one first. The vehicle mode on here does look pretty nice, honestly. I wasn't really able to get everything to snap in all the way, but that's fine. It's a bootleg, it's whatever. There's no Chevy logo and there's no Autobot logo or anything that says Camaro on here. No license plate on the back, and the back does look kind of bland on this. The top has this little hole right here,
And that's for weapon storage.
looks kind of weird, but that's how it was on the original figure as well. It has blue plastic windows right here that lets you see its insides. You know, that kind of looks like a face right there. Also, another thing, if you open the doors, you do have windows you can bring out. Oh, snap in together, please. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, I'm really not able to get this one to tab into place properly. Now here's a look at the underside of the figure. Here's its side profile, the front. It really does look kind of bland without the logo there, but the rest of the figure is not too bad. Now here's a look at the other version. This one snaps together much better than the other one. The whole police thing is kind of weird for Bumblebee, in my opinion.
And this literally just says policeman. I don't know what I expected. Same writing and symbols on the side here.
Back here you got another symbol. The back on this also looks very plain. No license plate as well. This also has these little things right here which I don't like. This one also has windows,
But it really doesn't work for this one either.
perhaps this was meant for just the robot mode, but I like having these down for the robot mode. The underside, nothing too special there. The wheels on both the figures are pretty much the same, and they feel like a cheap plastic. The spoilers on both of them are the same as well, and I like how there's even this for satellite radio. Does anyone even use satellite radio? Comment below. This one has black windows all around it, and this one's also got some scuff marks on it here, and overall, for the price I paid for these figures, they're not too bad.
This is the Mechanic Toys and Dr. Wu Steve Train.
I got this from the Show Z store. There'll be a link in the description below.
The figure itself is an interesting concept, but it's made of some cheap plastic. And while it's Thomas the Tank Engine, it's also Bumblebee.
Nani?
Yeah, well, sort of. I'll explain that later, though. It's a little bit complicated.
Alright, now let's open it up. Here's a look at the figure.
And before we go any further, we need to add the face of Thomas the Tank Engine. It's disturbingly split between the two shoulders.
And now you have Thomas's face split in half.
Here's a closer look at the figure, and he has an interesting head sculpt, but it is based off this version of Bumblebee from the comics. So this figure is based off Bumblebee from the Transformers Heart of Steel comic. This is the original third-party figure, this is a reissue, this version seems to be based off this comic book cover, and this is a variant of this. But there's actually an official version now, and if you want me to review that, leave a comment below. I like how the design has screws for the antennas.
He's got that little front piece going down the middle, some rivets on the side, some golden screws.
They designed the head sculpt pretty accurately. I'm not sure how I feel about the red face, and I believe those eyes are a teal color. Now detail-wise for this figure, there's a bunch of rivets all around it. There's this underneath the head.
Inside the legs, you have some train details. You have a nice gear over here, a bunch of train engine-y stuff.
And it's a little bit difficult to see right now, but if we move the chest piece, you can see some details on the abs.
Overall, though, this figure doesn't have a whole lot of detail.
Here's a look at the back of the head, nothing too much going on there. He's got whatever the hell these things are called on a train. A closer look at the crotch piece, you got this nice little V shape.
And now down here on the legs, these form the front section of the train.
You have the wheels on the side which do spin. This thing right here doesn't move with the wheels, and the connection on it is super loose, so it'll fall off during the transformation sometimes.
Here's a look at the back of the figure. Nothing much to say there. So this figure mostly consists of blue and red colors, if you couldn't tell. All the reds and blues seem to be molded plastic.
And the only areas of paint that I can clearly tell are the obvious silver bits, the gold screws, the lights,
The eyes.
also the black and blue for the shoulders are painted. It's easier to tell when you look at the bottom, and that blue paint matching is really good. There are some other paint applications, but we're gonna move on now. I don't have a paint fetish.
I do think this is a very interesting figure. However, the plastic on it doesn't feel like it's the best quality. It feels a little bit cheap, and the figure is also very light. I really think this figure is just kind of cute. It's like a very adorable design. It's a very adorable idea. Now let's do some size comparisons.
Here he is next to Bulkhead, and I feel like they're paired pretty well together. Here he is next to another Bumblebee figure, music label Soundwave, and hey, we haven't seen him in a while, and he has a message for you. It's subscribe. He's telling you to subscribe. Legacy Alita 1, Alien Attack Girl.
頑張れ頑張れ先輩
Excuse me, what the fuck? The joints on this figure are decently solid.
They can hold their place mostly. This leg right here seems to be a little bit loose though. The head can spin a full 360. It can look up and down a little bit. These side pieces can move up. You can bring the arms up that high. And like I said earlier, they do get in the way of any 360 rotation that this figure could do. The biceps can spin all the way around. No hand rotation. There's an elbow bend, waist rotation. These legs can move out into the side. They can move forward as well. They're also able to move move back that much. There's a knee bend, and there's also an outward knee bend. Now the feet on this figure are really weird. They're split into two parts. You have the back part right here, which can only rotate, and then this front part, which is on a ball joint. So it can move out like that, and it can rotate all the way around. And there's also some front foot movement.
Here's a closer look at his weapon. It's similar to that thing in Minecraft.
These bits can fold for storage in the vehicle mode, and it has a very firm grip on it, and this piece fell.
Come on. Oh, you just slide it down. I'm an idiot. It also comes with a little train track you can assemble, and it comes with this really nice card. I really like the material it's made out of. It's made out of
a material with a type of texture that you can rub on.
Anyways, the artwork on it looks really great.
And here's a look at the back. Steve Train is a disguised version of the Sergeant. He likes to participate in
I can't take this seriously.
in human entertainment festivals,
Perform programs like a clown.
and play with the children. The children like to call him a happy.
I love the text on this. Now for the transformation.
First thing you want to do, just bring in the head and bring this flap up and over. Snap that in place.
Now bring these out and up.
Open these flaps.
Bring in both of the hands.
Now bring in these arms to the back. Now we rotate this right here and get it out all the way like that. And then we need to bring this flap out. Rotate this all the way and then bring this flap out.
Now bring the arms up.
And make sure the sides with the wheels are facing down. And then we can bring this down and have it slide into place. Same with here.
Bring out the legs.
So you can align this up properly. Now we can move these wheels, rotate the feet in, make sure to bring these out. And now this abdomen piece needs to go in there. And that's okay. That's meant to happen. And now we can bring these legs up. Now we can connect them. Close the front piece together. Now this part of the transformation I feel like is poorly designed because these pieces are meant to slide in with this, and I feel like over time that's just going to damage the figure with how this is engineered.
You can kind of see it happening already.
But regardless, get it in like so, and just make sure this is underneath. There we go, get everything to line up, and you might have trouble lining things up if the face pieces aren't on the shoulders properly, so what you can do is take them out and then reattach it when you do the transformation. Now we can bring the wheels back and bring that in.
Now we just need to adjust everything so it fits in place properly.
Now we can put this piece back on, and the connection with these side pieces is pretty loose, so be wary of that. Also, I'm not able to get this to tab in there properly, so we're just gonna leave it like that. I don't care.
Anyways, here is the train mode of the figure.
It doesn't look too bad. It's very chibi-like, it's very small and compressed. A lot of the details show out more in vehicle mode. It's still not a very detailed figure, but you can see some details here and there. Here's a look at the underneath.
Here's a look at his dump truck. I like how there's a panel detail for where the coal would go. Now if we take a look at the front, he has a very large slit going through his face. I kind of wish they included an extra face piece that was just one piece
that you could put on for the transformation.
Also, it looks like I didn't get this piece out all the way, so let me fix that. I'm following in my grandfather's footsteps and becoming a train engineer now.
You know what? It's fine. I think I might have done this one too much, or is that accurate? I don't know. Not a whole lot of people seem to have this figure, which is kind of a shame because it's a neat little concept.
Also for weapon storage, you just kind of shove the pickaxe in there.
And when you do that, it kind of untabs the front, so be careful of that. It doesn't tab into anything, but surprisingly, it holds in place pretty well. But it looks like if you even move it just a bit, it kind of undoes everything. Anyways, now for the train tracks. Now I will say for these train tracks, be a little bit careful. The pieces are fragile, and I did manage to break this earlier when I first got the figure, but we can assemble these. Oh, and it looks like the piece finally came off. And yeah, there's the train tracks. It kind of works.
I mean, not entirely. Not all the wheels move, and it seems to be a bit back heavy.
So overall, I definitely don't think that this is a bad figure. Maybe a little bit too pricey for the quality of plastic, and despite not being able to tab this in, I still think this is a figure worth buying for the novelty. Now, if you enjoyed this video over here, make sure to check out these other videos.